Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for listening in the podcast. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to everybody who listens on Spotify, and thank you so much for following me, following this podcast on Spotify. It really means a lot. Today, guys, unfortunately, there's bad news. We just learned that a fashion designer this week has was found in her home in Brooklyn, and I'm gonna read to you guys what happened. Right? The authorities are saying a Brooklyn-based fashion designer, accessory designers, I will say more, was found dead with a scarf around her neck inside her home this week. And her name is, I just had her name, excuse me, is Lana or Lana. I know people that are named Stelana, they're usually nicknamed Lana. Last name is Indelicato. So her full name is Spilana Indelicado. She was 50 years old. Like I said, an accessory fashion designer based out of Brooklyn, New York, was found dead this week in her home, and her husband was the one who happened to find her. And the strange thing about this and everything surrounding this case is that her husband was the one who found her. She was an accessory designer, fashion designer. Probably her main focus was accessories. She was a handbag designer, accessory designer. Specifically, she had a whole page for scarves. So the strange thing is that she actually was found, and I'm sorry to be graphic, but she was found with a scarf around her neck. Okay, this is, police is still investigating, but I find it very weird and very strange that this person, this fashion designer Lana, she had a huge following on Etsy. Etsy is the independent designer platform. I remember years ago I had a store there, and I had a lot of groups too. And it's very good if you like starting out. A lot of Etsy works with it works for people like you can really be prolific on that platform. And it's so strange, it can work for some people, it might not work for you. um I guess you just have to give it a try, but it looks to me like Lana had a great following. She been a seller since 2009. From her reviews, it looks that she was very her brand was really good. She had two stores on Etsy. One was dedicated to her handbag collection, and the other one was dedicated for her scarf collection. But the strange thing about this case that I found strange is that today is just May 17th. She died this week, and just 3 days ago she got like positive review on her items that she sent out. And on Etsy, if you go on Etsy right now, you can see that on her store, which I'm gonna give you the names of the store so you can check it out. I'm also gonna give you her Instagram handle. You can see how talented she was, and you can also see the demand that there was for her handbags. These are like really unique items that she created. She was very creative, very dedicated to her craft, and it's almost like, I know they're still investigating, but I find it very odd that somebody who was just shipping items, she got reviews this week on her shop, people saying how thankful they are for their items, for her to be found there just this week. Like something must have happened there. So let me read to you guys briefly this article. Fashion designer, she was 50 years old, was found there with a scarf around her neck in her New York City home. And just, this just came to my mind. Actually, you know what? As I'm speaking to you guys and making this video, I was just thinking about this lady. What is her name? The other accessory designer, who was found, in her home. I don't know. I think, oh, Case Spade, right? Um, I believe that she um she died in similar circumstances. She was also a handbag and accessory designer. I think Kate Spade was very well known. I mean, her brand is still continues today. And I know she sold Kate Spade. You know how crazy it is with designers. You name, I relate to this because I am a designer as well. You name your your brand, like your first and last name. I name my brand Julissadesigns, but you name it that, and then if you decide to sell your company, like that, your first and last name goes to somebody else, and that is crazy. Let me just see if I can get. So when Kay Spade died, she died June 5th, 2018. I remember learning about her passing. It was just very surprising to me about her. I would, it's almost like you think about a designer and then you immediately picture them. Like, it's so crazy. Sometimes you will think you picture their work. You really just picture them who they are. If you got a chance to really know about their story, I'm not saying actually meet them, but like if you know, like you see interviews of them and things like that, when you hear about something about them, I don't think, oh yeah, I remember that scarf, I remember that bag. You remember just the person behind the brand. It's so crazy. At least that's what happened to me. But okay, so this designer, like I said, her name is Svilana Indelicado, 50 years old, who designed handbags as well as scarf and pashmina shawls, was unconscious and unresponsive when her husband claimed, this says here, when her husband claimed he found her inside in a room in the Bensonhurst home on 80th Street near 16th Avenue and called the police around 5 a.m. on Thursday. Okay, so this happened just yesterday. It says here once again, a scarf was wrapped around her neck, and let me see. EMS workers responded and she was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests have been made, and the city medical examiner office will officially determine how she died. In Delicado, this is where you can find her work. I think, when you have somebody who is like independent designer, like, and she just passed, you want to help out by getting her collection, but you think, man, you have to really give the family some time before they start shipping items away. So that's something to think about. She sold her handbags on Etsy, and her shop name was Vital Temptation, and scarves on the shop on Etsy called a Scarf Obsession. So you can take a look if you want to look at her work. It says here on her resume she has posted, I work with wool, silk, and other natural fibers using very unique and almost forgotten techniques while creating my designs. She wrote that on LinkedIn, excuse me. I use felting, which is an ancient textile art where manipulating wool, warm soapy water, and squeezing and rubbing creates a very special one-of-a-kind piece. So she was very dedicated to her craft and very detailed about what she did. So right now they're saying there's no arrest made, nothing like that. I just feel like when somebody dies in a certain situation, usually the police is saying right now there's no arrests have been made, right? But usually the last person who's to see that person needs to be investigated eventually, will be investigated. The last person to see them, and also the person who found them. That's how it goes, I think. Whoever saw the victim last and whoever found that person last, whoever found and called the authorities. That's usually how it goes. I just find it very odd, guys. Just looking at this case, brand new. She just died yesterday. Was found in her home yesterday. There's investigation going on. I'm sure there's gonna be surveillance cameras and things like that. I find it very odd for her to be up and running in her business, right? I think I can relate in a way that when you are independent designers, customers is everything for you. Like, they're spending money on something that you create, right? And you want to make sure, man, like I shipped items yesterday. I made sure that, and it was raining a lot here in Connecticut. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to put it in the bags. I'm going to bring it myself to the post office because I don't want this to get ruined, right, with the rain. Or leave it there and who knows how much rain we're going to get, things like that. Actually, it was Wednesday that I was shipping items. And I'm like, so when you're an independent designer, this is why a lot of the times people like to work with independent designers because there's a sense of one-on-one when it comes to like, man, this person made this for me and now they're sending it to my house and I get to wear their creation. That's why the exclusivity of working or ordering from independent designers, that's the whole beauty about it. I know some people don't see it like that. They want to get their $5.99, t-shirts. But when you're working one-on-one design, that's what it's all about, the exclusivity. So I find it very strange. This is what I'm getting at. Looking at her Etsy shop and to see that she is getting reviews like 3 days ago from people who got their items from her merchandise, her creations. Like, it's very strange that it was just so sudden that now she's no longer here. You have a responsibility to deal with the Etsy shop, right? And if you are familiar with that, Etsy shops are not something that you can just leave open. Like, somebody needs to follow through, right? Because especially she had a great following on Etsy. You can check it out. You have a great following. You have orders that are pending, orders that are coming in, orders that you're waiting for people to get them, right? So usually I'm always tracking it. When I send an item, I'm always tracking it. So I hope this full investigation comes through and we get to know what actually happened to her. Also for her to use a scarf, which is very strange because that's something that she created. It's just looking at it from this creator type of way. Here's the thing, guys. When I began my business as a fashion designer, you have no idea how many people came to me and they're like, can you alter this? And I kept saying to them, I'm a designer. I don't do alterations, and people couldn't understand that, right? And the reason that I kept saying that is I would never take somebody's works apart because I create things. I love the idea of creating something unique from idea to the actual garment to the final thing, right? I love that. So I would never see myself like, oh, can you make this alteration? Can you cut this dress and take this dress and make it like into a skirt now? Like, I would never take somebody's hard work apart. That's just me. But people could never understand. They're like, well, you're a designer. What do you mean you don't do alterations? That's what I do. I just would not. I will always say to them, you need a seamstress. That's not who I am. I am a fashion designer. I would obviously I will not go into much detail like that, but it's something that a lot of people cannot understand. So it's two things in this case, right? Like I said, I really hope they get a full investigation on what happened to her. But one is that it looks to me, it's not like she closed her Etsy shop. Kind of like it was something that she knew was gonna happen to her. There's no note either that was found. So that's something else, if you guys kind of get what I'm talking about. There was no note that was found. And I think there's a sense of responsibility when it comes to having an Etsy shop, any shop, but specifically Etsy, that you get charged just by having it open. Like, if you're going to go on vacation, you have the option to shut everything down. If you're going to go away and be like, okay, I'm not going to do handbags for 6 months, I'm going to close this shop. Like, you have that option because you don't want the fees to keep coming, right? That never happened in this case. The other thing is that she was getting feedback from her customers recently, like 2 days ago, right? So that means she was working on orders. And that's point number one. The point number two that I see here is that she used a scarf. Like, she was found with a scarf around her neck. Like, that's something that she makes. So I really hope there's a full investigation comes out and we get to know exactly what happened to her. Please keep her family in your prayers. Let me know, guys, what you think about this case, and if you happen to be one of her buyers, like you purchased one of her items, her creation, let me know your thoughts about that. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel, and thank you so much for listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. I'm here to invite you to my podcast, Julissadesigns, and it can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can join me every day as I make episodes of the latest news, real life stories, and I also share my favorite Bible verse. Hope to see you then. God bless. Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to know more about me, you can always visit www.julissadesigns.com. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.